What's good, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Tuesday, 6 o'clock Kingdom time. You know what time that is. It's time for Chiefs Kingdom Live. This episode's not going to be as fun as the last couple. So we got the alert there at the bottom, too. If you're at work or if you have children around, if you're at church.
Heed caution.
You might want to turn the volume down, put the headphones in. We're going to get to all that here in a minute. But if this is your first time joining the show or you haven't already, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button for us. It's quick and painless. Doesn't cost anything. Helps us out a lot. We've gotten more kind of like viewers and followers of this show than I think we anticipated.
Completely.
To start the season. So pleasantly surprised. We appreciate if you're watching and you've subscribed and liked already. Can't thank you enough for that. For letting us be a part of your Chiefs, season and coming here for your Chiefs content. So click that like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'd appreciate it. Not enough thank yous for doing that. And if you haven't already followed us on our social media platforms, you can find us at Chiefs Kingdom Live on all the big ones, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I think Nick's got a Twitch out there somewhere. So we're just going to talk about what went wrong, I guess, here on this episode. I'd ask you guys how you're doing, but I think everybody in Chiefs Kingdom, including myself, knows the answer to that question.
I find myself just randomly throughout the day just going, just frustrated, defeated, barely watched any highlights. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I haven't watched any highlights. I'm not – I had the pleasure of seeing it live all in front of me. So, really disappointing, obviously. Chiefs season comes to an end, 27-24 in overtime to the Cincinnati Bengals. You just lost at home to the fucking Bengals in the AFC Championship game, man. Like, that's about as brutal as it gets. We're just going to jump into it. I mean, it started off good.
Started off excellent.
Dude, it was beautiful. Yeah. First of all, it was beautiful weather. Like, Nick and I were talking about, I was like, damn, I didn't think I needed to bring my sunscreen to a game on January 30th.
My nose got sunburned, for real.
Yeah, it was nice out. I was peeling layers off there during the game. Sunny, beautiful weather. The game couldn't have started off better. Chiefs, win the toss, defer, get a 3-and-out, go down, score. Then they get another stop. They go down and score. Then they give up the field goal. But then they go down and they score another touchdown.
21-3.
21-3. 21-3. Perfect weather. Dude, it's on cruise control. All right. It's like the autonomous car, man. Everything is just driving itself.
Mahomes is 13-14.
Then from there, it was all downhill, as the old saying goes. Or up. Maybe it was all uphill. I don't know.
The autonomous car drove off into a ditch and then caught on fire.
I want to know. I just want to ask both of you. When the Chiefs scored that touchdown to go up 21-3, was there any worry whatsoever in your mind that they weren't going to win that game?
Nick?
No, not at all. None. I was just like, dude, we're gonna fucking roll this team. That's what I thought. I was like, it's proof that the last time was a fluke. We're hitting on all cylinders. Mahomes was playing incredible football. I mean, even Mecole Hardman had good hands. I mean, on that, dude, that bomb. I mean, it was just like, dude, like just sick play after sick play, and I was just like, yeah, we're gonna fucking shithouse them, and I mean, it's just gonna be a party at Arrowhead. I mean, that's really what I was thinking.
I had invited some friends over, and one of them was telling me, he's like, I don't even want to watch this game. It's going to be a blowout. And I'm telling him, I hope so, man. I really do hope so, because after last week, my blood pressure can't take another close shootout like that. So I hope it is a blowout. And it started to turn into one. And life was great. Life was great. And yeah, we all saw what happened in the third quarter. My God. Just, I still just go, ah.
I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are. How impactful was the Chiefs getting the ball at the 1 yard line, first and goal, after the pass interference in the end zone again on Tyreek Hill, the guy, I think it was maybe his Apple or one of those other guys that was covering him. They get the ball first and goal at the 1 yard line, but time is an issue because, well, partially because our coach, who I'm going to preface everything I'm going to say about Andy Reid with this. I understand he's a Hall of Fame coach. I understand he has led this team to successes and heights never experienced by the organization before. I mean, this team never won back-to-back division titles, and they've won the damn thing 6 years in a row, okay? Playoff wins. Since Andy has gotten here, I've gone from 0-3 lifetime playoff games. I've gone to what now? 6-3?
Yeah.
We win playoff games every year, 4 straight AFC Championship games at home. Okay, I acknowledge all that. And I'm not trying to start the hot takes. We need to get rid of Andy Reid. But how that accomplished of a coach doesn't understand that you don't call a timeout and then throw a challenge flag, to me is like, dude, that's got to be in the first 5 pages of how to coach NFL football for dummies, right?
Dude, what level do you get replays at? Like, it's college, right? I think even high schools implemented replays, and that's just such a fundamental, basic fact about like the play of the game, right? Like, you throw the flag, that's essentially the same as calling a timeout with benefits, right? Like,
right.
you don't get the flag. Oh man, you lose a challenge. You still have another one in your back pocket. You burn a timeout anyway. Like it just baffled me. Like it just shows you that even coaches have brain farts too. Like even these world class.
Can we go back a step and be like, well, like it was pretty obvious that he got a first down. Why the fuck did he even have to challenge it and burn a timeout?
I guess I expect Andy Reid to be better than the incompetent, absolute clown show boob NFL referees that we had to put up with this year. I mean, I send my season ticket rep an email at the end of every year, and that's going to be bullet point number 1. I'm spending this kind of money to go out there and watch this bullshit with the incompetence, not bad refereeing, not questionable refereeing, incompetent refereeing all season.
Yeah. Just egregious. Yeah, like you're like, where is this even coming from, refereeing, right? Like, do these guys even know the rules to the game? Because I'm sitting there screaming at my TV for all these penalties. The announcers go, oh, got away with that penalty there. And you're just like, okay, where are these booth referees? That happened in every other game except the Chiefs game. They call down and say, hey, a penalty happened. Oh, sorry, I'm going to have to.
No, okay, so we all agree that was self-inflicted a little bit there. If you've got that extra timeout, maybe you got a chance to try to run it in. Or maybe the threat of a run opens up some of the passing on the outside for Patrick to get the touchdown. But I would like to know what your thoughts are. What was the most detrimental play or sequence of events there towards the end of the first half for momentum and ultimately what happened in the second half? Bo?
For me, what I saw, right, obviously it was when we didn't get it in right before half. They just let time go out. They didn't even score 3, right? They threw it to Tyreek Hill and tried to have him run it in the end zone instead of trying to throw it into the end zone or just not throw it at all, throw it into the dirt and settle for 3. That's, again, the most basic fundamental move you make right there. I know you have Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, and Nick and I were discussing this before the podcast. You make that throw every time because Tyreek Hill is probably the guy to get you a yard. Just not in that situation, though. Like it's just so baffling that these guys had no awareness. These coaches had no awareness of like these situations at hand. What was going on?
That was on Patrick, though. Patrick said I was just supposed to look and then throw it away. I decided to throw it to Hill,
right,
when I wasn't supposed to.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, because he's open, right? And he's the one receiver you probably in the league you actually do throw that ball to, right? Because like 9 times out of 10, he probably gets you that. But like leading up to that, like not running it. And then, okay, let me get back to your other question. Like, what was the turning point for me? Is when it was third quarter and the lineman batted the ball up to himself and intercepted Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, to me, like that kind of just felt like, oh no, this is going to be one of those fluke games again, where just like everything's going to go wrong, and it did. But that's when I noticed the turnaround.
Yeah, Nick.
I think it was before that. I think it was the drive before that, where for the second week in a row, right at, we have a lead, and right before half, the defense crumples like wet tissue paper.
Yeah.
And allows just like a score with zero resistance.
Yeah,
I mean,
that 40
our
yards
end of half defense like has been so atrociously bad, and it's getting overlooked. And like, what the fuck was that screen pass? How did that score a touchdown?
Just atrocious tackling.
Dude, it was a 40-yard screen pass to the backup running back. That wasn't even Joe Mixon. That was Pirine, or whatever the hell that sumbitch's name is. Like, this, everybody is bitching about the offense not getting points there at the end of the first half. I got an idea. How about when your offense gives you a 21-3 lead with 2 minutes to go before the half, you don't give up a 40-yard touchdown to the backup running back? Hello? Like, to me, when that happened, I just, like, I got this, like, knot in my stomach. And it was nice. The Chiefs got the ball down. And, yeah, a field goal would have been nice there. But I'm sorry, man. Like, this defense continually all year. You saw it last week and the week before in the Bills game. They gave up, 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes of the game? And Patrick and the offense go miracle. And to me, everybody is talking about the failure of the offense at the first half and the failure of the coach, and the failure of the quarterback with the play selection, not to get 3 points. You still got 21 points in the first half.
And on pace for 42 points in a game. Right.
And what does the defense do? Instantly gives 7 of it back right before the end of the half. And then it was all downhill from there. You know, I mean, there's a litany of things that obviously happened in the third and fourth quarter. Was the offense good? No. But, again, you hand your defense an 18-point lead at home in the AFC Championship game, and you score 24 points total in the game, that needs to be enough to win.
It's enough to win the NFC Championship.
It was enough to win the NFC Championship. And everybody, all of the focus is on the offense only scoring 3 points in the second half. Well, I'm sorry. Last time I checked, they scored 21 in the first half. Like, the offense, like, is so good. And Patrick Mahomes and that offense has been able to cover up so many deficiencies on the defense for so long. They're like victims of their own success.
Yeah.
I mean, is that not right? Because I heard people say that on local radio and on national television and even local television and experts, well, the defense, you know, they only gave up 24. They held the Bengals to 24.
I'm sorry,
when has the defense ever been credited with holding somebody to 24 points?
Exactly.
Are you shitting me?
And like with that same stat, what nobody's looking at, right? They're blaming the Chiefs for blowing the 18-point lead. But like if you look at it, Cincinnati's defense held us from scoring. Why can't our defense do the same thing to their offense?
Right?
This is they held up. That was sacked 9 times last week. We only got to him 1 time. Like,
well, let's look at it this way. So in the Bills game, the offense was put in a position where they had to score or the season was over. And then they scored. And then they got put in a position again where they had to score or the season was over. And then they scored again, right?
Yep.
They scored the field goal in 13 seconds. And then they were put in a position again in overtime where they had to score or the season was over. Right? And what'd they do? They scored a touchdown. Against the Bengals, they were put in a position where you have to score at least a field goal or the season is over. And what did they do? They went and scored a field goal, right? to tie the game. Now it got ugly at the goal line, right? We can talk about that. So then they get put in a position again where it's score or the season's over, and they don't. And then everybody wants to blame them. How many of those positions was the defense put in, and how many times did they make one stop in that entire zero, right? Like, so with the season on the line over and over and over again, the defense could not get one stop.
Nick, how many times do you think that happened this year? Like, you just named 7 instances in 2 games. Like,
yeah,
I that probably happened 20 times easily this year.
My point is that you're sitting there saying you guys didn't do it again for like the 6th time in 2 games, and you suck because you had a bad half of football. But we have like a whole half of the team that could not get a stop to save the season over and over and over again. We like, if it wasn't for the miracle of the offense in the 13-second drive, then like we're not even playing in that game.
Right.
And everybody's sitting there like, instead of talking about the Bills defense blowing it, they're like, how the fuck was that guy? Did they have guys wide open twice for winning touchdowns in the last 2 minutes of the game, right?
Right.
So like, I've had a couple days to process this. Scott and I have had some heated conversations about it, just because there's a lot of emotion. But I mean, my thoughts have centered mostly. Now, the Chiefs offense should have got points in the second half. They should have at least got one more touchdown, I think. But if they don't, it still needs to be enough. If you want, like, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl against the Rams. It was like 10-3, right? The most boring Super Bowl ever, the one that we should have played in. But guess what? Our defense fucked up and lined up offsides and cost us a chance to go to
and couldn't get a stop on 3rd and 10.
It's a luxury. We do, like, if we do not figure out how to put a good defensive unit on the field, then it is going to be the exception rather than the norm that we win these games.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I mean they've had 4 straight AFC Championship games and at home, and they've won 2 and they've lost 2. And the 2 that they lost, how many points did they give up to the Patriots? 30-something. And I'm sorry, 24 against the Bengals should be enough. The Tennessee Titans, Bo, you kind of hinted this a second ago. They held that team to 19 points last week, the week before. And that was with Tannehill throwing 3 interceptions. That defense got 9 sacks. That defense held the Bengals to 19 points. Guess what? If the Chiefs hold the Bengals to 19 points, they win. And the Titans don't have the 85 Bears defense, okay? I don't think, looking at the Titans defense, anybody's saying, oh, man, that's the 03 Ravens. Or that's
right. There's nobody you can definitively point to and be like, oh, they have that guy. That's why the defense was able to hold them to 19.
That's the old steel curtain, or that's the Orange Crush, the old Denver Broncos defense back in the day. I'm sorry, man. Like, that Bengals offense is not some sort of juggernaut. That Bengals offense is not some sort of all-time great offense that they couldn't hold. So I hate trying to put some arbitrary number at, oh, it was this percentage of this defense's fault, and it was this percentage of the off, because that's all speculation. That's based on no scientific formula, that's just people guessing, pulling a number out of their ass. The team lost the game because of the defense, not the offense.
And even on that last drive where we kicked the field goal, we couldn't, like, everybody was sitting there thinking, well, we've got to figure out a way to use up the rest of the time and then try to so like basically boil it down to getting one shot at the end zone on 3rd down, right?
Because they got down to the 15 with like 2 minutes left?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, like, even though the defense wasn't on the field, they were still impacting the game because everybody knew because of the Bills game the week before. If we do not give them no timeouts and no time left, they're going to go and win the game. They're going to go score a touchdown, and they're going to win a game.
Well, and the defense's inability to stop them from getting a touchdown and a 2-point conversion and a field goal on the 4 previous drives to blow the lead.
Right.
Yeah, I just – to me –
And this isn't a new problem either, right? Like,
no.
We blew a 28-point lead against the Colts in the second half. We blew an 18-point lead at half against the Titans at home. You know, like I mean, it's one of the things that when people look back at Andy Reid's tenure here, that it's gonna say he would have won 2 or 3 more Super Bowls if he had like cared at all about putting a good defensive unit on the field. But they're always secondary, and it's always like, all right, we're gonna be over here. You guys got your shit over there. Okay, we're good. All right, you guys go do your thing.
And it's
I'm
not
gonna be
even
over
though
here.
that like that it's secondary, because if you look at the money they spent on some of those defensive players like
Yeah.
Frank Clark and Chris Jones
Chris
and
Jones's contract
Tyrann
alone.
Mathieu, like
Doesn't matter how much money you spend; it's how much attention you give it as a
well, I
coaching
get
staff,
that,
and
but
what your vision
or
for the team is.
or coordinator or draft capital, I just
His
they need a
vision
better
for the
defense.
team does not have that much focus on the defense.
Oh yeah, it's 100% offense focused. Like that's obvious, and for good reason though, right? Like you have the best quarterback to like pretty much grace football. You want to surround him with all the weapons possible, but one of those giant weapons is a great defense. So like as we saw this year, he doesn't feel like he has to put all the pressure on his shoulders and just like freak out like we saw him do numerous games. Not saying that was the reason for this game, but like it's putting a lot of pressure, undue pressure on that guy's shoulders.
3
Like
touchdown
an
passes in
18
the
point
AFC Championship game is pretty good, right? Didn't he tie the record for the most touchdown passes in a postseason this year?
exactly.
And he didn't even play in the Super Bowl.
An 18-point lead is a 3-score lead. How shitty is your defense that a 3-score lead isn't enough with basically only a half of football left to play?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to go out and get a 24 or 30-point lead, or expect a miracle comeback. 8, 9 out of 10 games.
That's what I mean. So much undue pressure on Mahomes' shoulder, right? Like they put him in the spot where he either has to make these miracle comebacks or like game-winning drives like every time, or you have to be up by like 4 or 5. Like there's no in between. There's no in between for this team. So it's one of the two.
3-score lead is not safe at home with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. I'm not blaming the offense. I'm sorry. It's just mine, dude. It's like like I ran out of energy on Twitter trying to like explain it and like argue it with people. And I'm like, well, we only scored 3 points. Okay, well, they scored 24. Would you have felt better if they would have scored 12 in the first half and 12 in the second half? What does it fucking matter? You gave them a 21-3 lead in the first half of the damn game.
Right. Like if it was 12-3 at halftime and then it ends 24-27, like
right.
Amount of points, same result. Like you're not blaming it on. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And how many times have you seen this defense? Oh, it's an 8-point lead. Not only are we going to give up the touchdown, we're also going to give up the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
They suck. The defense fucking sucked.
Dude, the defense sucks so much. The most one of the biggest through lines I saw this entire season was teams just going for it on us on 3rd and long, 4th and whatever. Every single play. Doesn't matter like where it was on the field. Like I saw teams on their own 30 and 40 going for it on 4th down against us all year, dude. Week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. We're starting to build up. Week 7, week 8. They're still going for it on us on 4th down and getting it, dude. Like our defense just showed that they were our weakest link all year, man. And
I think when you look at like yardage, they were 27th ranked defense this year. That's not good enough. And again, if your philosophy, and if you're a coach or if you're a front office or even if you're a fan, if your expectation is that like Patrick and the offense should just get out to these 4 or 5 score leads in every game, or always make the miracle comeback, and you're just gonna sit there and give the defense a pass, then the games like this are going to continue to happen.
Right.
And you're going to win 50% of your home AFC Championship games instead of 75 or 80% of them.
I mean, I just remember the defense, they did make a pick in the second half, right? And that's what you're trying to ask for the defense. They do that. But then what happens? Patrick comes out and throws an interception, fumbles it. Like, it was just like all the comedy of errors just added right up right there. It was in the third quarter. Like the fourth quarter, we didn't look as bad, but they gave up 11 on us.
His QBR in the first half was like a 98.5, which is almost a perfect. I mean, that's 1.5 points off of a perfect half of football. The guy's allowed to have 3 or 4 or 5 bad drives. I'm sorry.
Right.
At 21-3, the game should be over, regardless of whether you score any more points or not. I mean, hell, I think 21. If you're a serious Super Bowl contender, 21-3, 21 points at home, 24 points, especially at home, should be enough to win the game.
Our fourth down conversions, we had 0 in that last game. I know that. I can look it up real quick. I don't know what our stops.
Well,
were.
I think Doug's asking like, what's the percentage of fourth downs teams complete against us?
Right.
I think we were one of the worst teams as far as getting stops. Now we did see an inordinate amount, and whether you want to sit there and say it's because people think they can get it against our defense or because they feel like they have to because of our offense, I mean, that's, it's probably both, right?
Yeah. I would agree.
I mean, we weren't one of the better teams.
No. And you would think you would almost think that a team that has more that has more opponents going for it on fourth down against them would help your stats. Like, this team was the worst. They gave up 75% conversions on fourth down, but that was only 3 out of 4. You figure if teams are going for it against you all the time, that should give you more opportunities to get stops because it should be hard. It should be hard to convert fourth downs.
It should be, but like that's the point I was making. It was
not against our defense.
To watch all these teams just go for it at will on us, knowing that our defense couldn't do anything. What's the name of the company that does the stat that? I know it's Amazon, but what's their
next gen or something like that? Next gen stats. So, and maybe I should have prefaced this with, if you're a defensive player for the Chiefs or a family member of the defense of the Chiefs, you should have turned the show off because they pissed the game away. They blew a 3-score lead at home.
Completely.
And I just, to me, like, I'm not going to sit here and blame the offense. Well, they should have scored more in the second half. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure if the offense could score 60 every game, they would win every game. That's not realistic.
There's some weird stats out there, though, that I see why people who weren't really paying attention to the game would say that, right? Like when you look at like Mahomes' passer rating in the first half, he had 149.9 or something like that. In the second half, it was a 0, his passer rating. Right. So, I mean, like, you kind of do need your offense to perform a little bit. There is a whole second half of football there. But I agree with everything you just said, dude. 21-3, like, what more do you need to give your defense?
Should be
like,
over.
They held us to 3 points. Like, it should be over. It should be over. But, yeah.
I mean, people are spoiled by the offense. People think that it's normal to score 21 points in the first half of a football game. That's not normal.
That's what games end on. Yeah.
When you watch most other NFL games, most other NFL teams, the NFC Championship game was 20-17. They didn't score 21 points the entire game. The offense scored 21 in the first half, and it wasn't enough. So, bitch about Patrick Mahomes if you want. To me, I feel like those are all the same people that were probably bitching about Patrick Mahomes and all the interceptions he was throwing at the beginning of the year when he was getting all these passes tipped in the air and picked off. And, well, what's wrong with Patrick Mahomes? And Mahomes is broken. And look at all the interceptions and look at all the bad plays. The dude played good. He was playing good in those games.
He was.
The team was 3-4, and he was leading the league in interceptions. That was only because people were dropping the ball. And so he's like created this aura and this like godlike invincibility in people's minds. And Bo, you and I were talking about this in the car. Have you ever worked at a job where you had 2 or 3 people that were really good at their job, and then you had a bunch of other people that were just complete slackers and incompetent and had bad attitudes and didn't give a shit and screwed things up all the time? And the company, like, instead of getting rid of like the hacks at the bottom, they're always causing problems and screwing things up. They just put more pressure on the few good people that actually did a good job and worked hard and were really good at their jobs to make up for it. Have you ever worked at a job like that?
Yeah, it's like every job, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I have had jobs.
I mean, the rule is that 20% of your people do 80% of your work. I think that's like pretty much everywhere you go, right? I
mean, it's not most jobs I've had. I mean, I've worked lots of jobs where there's a few bad apples and they got weeded out, and so to me, like, to sit there and bitch about Patrick and the offense and just give a free pass to the real problem and the people that constantly failed at their jobs and were unable to protect and hold the leads that the offense gave them is just so short-sighted and just misinformed. And it was making me want to reach for the phone and fucking strangle people all night Sunday and all day yesterday. I had one dumbass. He actually literally said this in a tweet. The offense blew the lead. How does an offense blow a lead? The fucking offense provides the lead. Like, just unbelievable. And then they wanted to go on and tell me that I must not have a brain and I must be a fucking idiot and I must be a moron and I must be stupid. Like, you're the one that just said the offense blew the lead, so who's the stupid one? Anyway, I
that's
feel
the
like
troll sphere you're living in there,
out of control already, just talking about it. But I mean, hell, up 21-3. I'm thinking this. I'm thinking, shit, are we gonna see Chad Henne in an AFC Championship
I thought so
game?
too.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Insanity. And props to KC Apparel for the threads, by the way. Anything is possible. Go check out their website. We tweet out links to their shit all the time. They're local dudes. They're cool. They've got some pretty creative, some pretty cool stuff on there. That's where I got this shirt at. So, yeah, I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, yeah, you can be critical of the offense. And did Patrick have a bad second half? Yeah.
I think they deserve some criticism. I think that they do deserve some criticism. They should, I mean, get one more field goal, one more drive.
You think that would have been enough? Like,
here's what I'll criticize about the
way
offense.
the defense
Yeah, one more field goal would have been
really
enough.
Would have made that big a difference.
One more field goal would have been enough. It would have won the game.
Maybe.
Like, here's what I will criticize about the offense.
Everything else goes exactly the same, though.
Right. Assuming that we win the game. I know what you're saying. But what I will criticize about the offense, dude, is what I saw the Bengals doing is what I saw every other team do this year. They backed up. They did the cover 2, double team Tyreek Hill, right? They gave room for the run, and I didn't see big runs. Now, don't get me wrong. I saw Jerick McKinnon. I saw CEH. They did great. Like, they had 5-6 yard average carries, right? But like,
yeah, but CEH,
a major 3-point through the whole line.
That's a major had like one run that was like 20 yards.
Right.
And they had a bunch of 2- and 3-yard runs.
But here's what I was going to say. Like, think about the season. We saw one big run from Derek Gore in a game that really didn't matter, right? And so, like, that's my criticism is, like, why are we not opening up this run game on this cover 2 defense they're pretty much giving you 20-yard runs every single play when they run
because we have a bunch of garbage heap guys.
And that's my criticism on this offense, dude.
I mean,
like Scott and I were talking about this. Either one of the three of us could probably get in there and run for 7 or 8 yards with some of those plays and defenses that they're looking at, man. It's not this great feat that they're doing out there. I mean, good for them that they're getting 6-7 yards, dude. But like any other running back in that position, any other good running back in that position, 20 yards every single time. They have to adapt and change their defense, and they can't run that every single time. Ergo, pass opens up. Mahomes does his thing.
I put that more on coaching than the offense because
right.
Patrick Mahomes isn't calling pass play after pass play after pass play.
Right, I agree with that. No, I know.
But then again, you also hear that Andy Reid gets conservative at the end of games with big leads. So I mean, that's almost like he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. I would have liked to have seen him run the ball more in the second half.
I would like to see him run the ball on 1st and 1 on the third goal or third. I can't even talk on 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. I'd like to see him run the ball there and not call passing plays twice in a row to, I don't know, like that baffled me that they did that.
Yeah, because when you do that, you're in a position where you're trying to run clock. So you either have to complete a pass or you have to take a sack or Patrick has to run it in.
Right.
Those are the only options, right?
Right.
Because people are like, well, like that last play, and it looked bad. He fumbled the ball. Could have potentially lost the game for us there. But they're so worried about running clock that he can't just throw the ball away.
You can't really do what you would normally do.
Yeah,
because normally if you had a decent defense that you could count on, you would try to take a shot from the 15-yard line because they do that all the time and score touchdowns.
Right.
Yeah.
But they knew we've got to get to the 5 and get a first down and make them use all their timeouts and get past the 2-minute warning and then score, hopefully on 3rd and goal. So yeah, just I just people giving the defense a pass and blaming the offense to me is just like.
I don't think anybody's giving the defense a pass.
Oh,
man.
no,
I just kind of feel
I
like
see
that
it
the
all over
offense
Twitter.
has set the bar so high that they haven't lived up to it in a while, even
There's a
though
local
they're
radio
even
station
though
I was
they're
listening to
performing
last
really
night.
well.
There's experts on Twitter that write for like they have like published work, and local radio people saying the defense. I mean, you would have taken 24 points if someone would have told you before the game you can only give the Bengals 24 points. Oh, you would have taken that right away. I wouldn't take that. 24 points is completely plausible that you're going to lose the game. How many games do we see in the regular season where the offense kind of sputtered this year and only scored 19, 21, 22, 23 points? I mean, it happened. Like, yeah, to me, it's unbelievable.
Especially because we play like a fairly finesse offense, and when they're not calling anything really, right? They're not calling penalties. It's a free for all. Then it's pretty easy to disrupt a team that plays like that, right?
Like in the second half when they were holding the receivers, trying to come out of their breaks. And
the last podcast, I was
just running behind guys for 15 yards with a handful on the back of their fucking jersey.
The last podcast, I was stoked. Like, this referee crew, they keep their flags in their pockets. And then I saw like Chris Jones miss out on like 6 sacks because he's just getting held by like his face mask. And I'm like, okay, we can bring him out for that one, right? Nope.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about bullshit like chintzy penalties, not like obvious, like shoving a guy after the play's over a dude, knocking him over. I mean, that's a penalty, right? And
they even threw the flag on that one.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if that was the drive where they got the touchdown and the 2-point conversion or just the field goal. But that would have made that play. That would have made it 2nd and 25 right there.
Yeah, completely different.
They ran into McCole Hardman after he called a fair catch. No penalty. Hit him well out of bounds. No penalty there. Holding Tyreek Hill.
On the 3rd down.
Kelce. I mean, the only reason Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, that's another thing about the offense I'm not going to give them too hard of a time on. I think the Bengals, they went into halftime and said, you know what, we can't cover these guys, so we're just going to hold the shit out of them, and we're going to mug them, and if the referees call it, they call it because that's our only shot.
And they didn't call it.
So that is another reason why I have a hard time blaming the offense. Defense, 24 points at home, an 18-point lead basically with a half of football to go. If you have championship aspirations and you want to consider yourself a legit championship contender, you need to hold that lead and not blow it and win the game and make that enough.
Now, I will say I'm a little upset at Cheetah on that 3rd and 10. That was a pretty good ball by Patrick, and he let that guy poke it out of his hands and get intercepted. I'm a little upset about that one because in that moment, like, Cheetah needs to catch that ball.
Yeah. No, I mean, we talked about that. If you watch this show all year, you know, like kind of like the anthem was catch the damn ball.
Right.
But that's a tough play. He's in between 2 defenders. He's got to time his jump right, and it's a lot of pressure, right, in that situation to make that play. Not that he shouldn't make it. I'm making excuses for him. But it's a difficult play. It's not.
Sure. It's not easy.
Drop the ball.
But he's our number 1 dude, right?
I understand. Yeah. Again, I'm not making excuses for him. Just saying.
Well, you should have done.
It's a difficult.
You should have turned around and shoved the other guy to the ground, and then turned around and caught the ball.
Yeah, like Jamar Chase.
To work for Jamar Chase.
Shove the defender out of the way and catch the ball. I mean, I don't know. Like that dude. How long is he going to get away with that shit?
Dude, I don't understand how he gets away with it. Like, I don't fucking get it. It's so obvious. It's so apparent. Like, full extension and then a catch. Like, that's the definition of that penalty. And you see it. That's his highlight reel. That's Jamar Chase's highlight reel. Oh, that fucking dude annoys me that he doesn't get called at all.
Right. So, anyway, I mean, how epic of a loss is this in the big picture of epic Chiefs losses? I mean, do you think this is worse than the AFC Championship loss against the Patriots? I do.
Yeah, because we were the better team. The
I
Patriots,
feel like we were the
argue,
better
were
team
as
against
good.
the Patriots, dude. Like that
We were
was
the better team against the Patriots, I felt too.
a
Maybe
dumb
not. Our
mistake
defense
cost
was
us.
really bad.
Cost us that one. This one was just they just gave up. It seemed like, you know what I mean. Like their gas ran out of their tank or something, right? Like it wasn't a
Doug,
mistake.
I haven't watched a lot of the replays just because I've been pretty downtrodden.
Yeah,
on
no,
the Chiefs,
I'm
but
not watching.
yeah, I mean, I'm not
the
saying
replays.
that he picked the right receiver to throw to, but I'm just saying that I think in that situation, he's like, he goes to Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill, like he should get up
Ride
there
or die with Tyreek. And hey, man, that's Patrick's game, though. That's part of his game is making big plays. So, would you like to maybe a little bit better decision making? You don't really need 40 yards there. You need 11 yards to get the first down or 10 yards or whatever it was.
You know who else likes to make big plays, though, that Doug was alluding to? Is Travis Kelce. That dude's open for 10 to 15.
Right.
This season, you go to him. You do not go to Hill. Like, that's what this season taught us, right? Like, TMFK is way more clutch in that position than Hill.
But if Tyreek catches it, then everybody's saying, "Oh my God, did you see that pass from Mahomes in overtime?" They probably go win the game. But so
they win the game when Travis Kelce catches the touchdown pass again, for sure. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they've got to fix the defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like that,
and I hope the team and the organization is looking at this the way we are, and not like a lot of the people in the media and a lot of these people on Twitter are looking at it. And we need more weapons. We need more weapons to go out and score more points in the second half.
One of the people this season doing this podcast I never expected to compliment was like our front office and like the guys who are responsible for picking our drafts and stuff. Because like I mentioned it a couple podcasts, like we had such a great draft class, dude. Our rookies crushed it this year. And I'm super confident in their ability to pick up some really good players next year, though.
Yeah, but they need to. They don't need to pick another running back in the first round.
Right.
Okay, they need to go get some defensive help.
Yeah, I think they do. This is a good segue to Nick's thing.
Now we talked about the Bills before the Bills game, the divisional round game, and the Bills defense was a little overrated because they really didn't play against that tough a competition or really very many good quarterbacks this season. But Josh Allen had the #1 ranked defense in the NFL this year. Could you imagine what the Chiefs' record, what they would look like if Patrick Mahomes had the #1 ranked defense in the league,
right?
Or even like a top 5 or a top 10.
Could you imagine what we would look like if our defense wasn't compared to the 1950s Colts for being the worst defense in the league?
I'm gonna tell you right now, if the Chiefs could figure out a way to get to like top 10 or even top 5 defense next year somehow, dude, they might go 20-0. They were talking about 20-0 before this year. They might go 20-0 if they had a top 5 or top 10 defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you look even back at like maybe not the Tennessee game, but all the other close games that we lost at the beginning of the year, like to the Ravens, you know what I mean? Like a good defense that can make some stops right there, our whole season looks different. But especially with this game, though, what do you think they go with next year? Do you think they draft defensive heavily? Like, where do you think the Chiefs are going to do next year? I know there's a bunch of free agents opening up. Do you think they just go after the free agency market due to our like cap limitations?
I mean, I don't think we can. I think this was the last year before Mahomes' cap hit really starts to put tighten down the bolts or whatever. This right here, I don't know if you guys can read that or not, but this is a percentage of seasons with a top 10 defense for NFL quarterbacks. Brady had 73%, Rodgers 25%, Peyton Manning 23.5%, Breeze 10%, and Mahomes 0%. Mahomes has never had a top 10 defense, right? And
I think that's why the bar's so high, man. I think everybody saw him and like pretty much him alone, not him alone, but like him and his offense, what he can do with that offense, win a Super Bowl without a defense, right? And I know Scott's shaking his head because that's not the way you're going to win Super Bowls in the future, and I agree. But I think that's why the bar is so high. Man,
no. I'm shaking my head because it's just so aggravating that they've pissed away an opportunity to win 2 or 3 Super Bowls here in 4 years.
Yeah,
because they couldn't put together a decent fucking defense. And then you have jackasses online and on the radio blaming the offense. blaming Patrick Mahomes, the guy that drags a 27th ranked defense to the AFC Championship game at home.
Right.
What am I missing?
And then they had the audacity to say, "Is there too much pressure on his shoulders? Like all the goddamn
gee, you think?
shoulders, dude? Like what are you
Fucking 3-score lead isn't a big enough lead. You think the guy's got some pressure? Hey Pat, we need you to go out there and get up 35-0, or the game's in doubt.
Or we're not winning this one, right? Like that's what it was like.
Yeah. They've got to get a fix there. They have got to figure the defense out. The defense has to get better. They've got to figure it out.
You put out an interesting Twitter poll today, or maybe yesterday,
that was asking too. So
asking the kingdom, what do we think we're going to do?
Yeah, after hearing everybody bitch about the offense and how it was the offense's reason, is their fault. They're why we lost the game. I put out a Twitter poll, Chiefs Kingdom Live Twitter poll, and asked, do you think the Chiefs should spend their first-round draft pick on a defensive player or an offensive player? It was like, was that 82% on the defense? Well, wait a minute. I thought the offense was the problem.
What would you guys like to see be picked up on defense? For me, I'll just go ahead and say it, DBs and safeties, dude. We need fast guys that aren't going to get burned, who can stick on their man. And if there's a pass over 20 yards, they're not going to be 12, 15 yards away from the guy catching the ball. They're going to be right on him, covering him. Like that, to me, then in my mind, that's what we need is strong third layer of defense.
I guess that depends on whether or not Honey Badger, you think he's going to be back, or whether he comes back or not.
Even if he's back, he needs help. He can't be the lone guy back there taking all the blame. You can't cover the entire field.
He's getting slow, man. He's getting slower. Like, where was his big impact playing that game? And maybe it's better when they're not calling his name, because it means that he's got his guy covered, right? But Honey Badger, where was like the quintessential Honey Badger play of the playoffs? What was it?
I don't know. That dude's getting older, and he's not 30 yet, but
he also got hurt really early last game, man. Say what you will about
that's true. He wasn't part of the Bills game, really. But
no, he wasn't. He got knocked out in the first series against the Bills.
I guess my point is that is he going to be worth the amount of money and cap hit? Is he worth 2 or 3 other solid guys to have a really good guy? You know what I mean? In that position, and maybe it's but I mean, having him back there captaining the defense didn't seem to make much difference with the game on the line.
I would like to see with the first round pick. Now, it obviously depends on who falls where.
Right.
If you're sitting there, the Chiefs are going to pick 28th or 29th or something. I mean, if the top ranked wide receiver and the obvious clear number one wide receivers there, okay, maybe. But I would just saying there's a mix of similar guys left that are still available in the Chiefs pick in the first round. I would like to see a cornerback or an edge rusher. Like a legit pass rusher. Frank Clark, I love Frank Clark. I don't know. He came out slow. Maybe he was injured. He got kind of hot there for a few weeks and was looking good. But he came out and they said that he had one sack in his last 113. One sack and 113 pass rushes or passing plays out there. I don't. His cap number is ridiculous. So I think he goes. I would I'd like to see either a cornerback or an edge rusher, and then the second round pick, I would pick one of the other of those two.
Third round, you Nick? Go running back.
Running back? Just go first round, first pick, running back.
Yeah, who's the consensus 5th best running back in the draft this year? Let's pick that guy.
Sounds about right. I mean, if he's left at 29, we should probably pick him up.
I think there's a good chance he'll be there, Bo. Because almost every other team in the NFL has figured out you don't draft a running back in the first round except for the Chiefs somehow. But
and the Giants. They drafted Saquon Barkley, I think, like 5th overall or something.
Yeah, that was like 3 or 4 years ago. I think even they figured that shit out by now. But
that's what I was saying. Like I really put my trust in the Chiefs office to draft the right personnel next year, man. Like they did a hell of a job this year that like I can see him doing the same thing next year and putting him in all the right positions, getting all players in all the right positions.
Yeah, because you figure you look at Nick Bolton and Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. Those are 3 rookies that were impact players, man.
All pros.
That's hard to do.
Yeah. So. But not only that, but like even some of the moves we made during the week, I mean, or during the season, picking up Melvin Ingram, dude. I mean, we got guys looking out, and they know what we're looking for, right? Like they know what gaps.
Maybe they bring Melvin Ingram. Maybe Ingram comes back.
I wouldn't mind that after this year.
I mean, he played well. I'm not going to.
He played better than Chris Jones in this last game. I'd argue.
But, I don't know. I haven't watched tape, or I don't know. Maybe Chris Jones is getting double and triple teamed like crazy too.
He got held like a motherfucker though,
and he was getting held a lot.
I was yelling so much at the TV.
Yeah, that's hard to tell when you're at the game because you don't, you can't.
Yeah.
It's not like
the only blatant hold that I saw was on Melvin Ingram, and he got the sack, and then they threw the flag. And I'm like, definitely throw the flag when we get the sack.
It's almost like they do that on purpose so they can say, "Oh, we threw a flag for holding on him."
God,
he threw it after he sacked.
He's so angry though. That was the only blatant hold. But like I said, I haven't watched the game back. Both said that it was pretty.
There's like 5 or 6, dude.
It's hard to see holding from section 304, row 9. Not that I'm trying to say I have bad seats, but
it's way more obvious on TV, and then
way more
on the moment, you're just like, how are you missing this? Even the players when they're rushing, they're holding their hands up, like, "What's going on? I'm being held." You're like, "Come on, he's being held." Like,
and the refs are like, "What? Where are you? I don't."
Yeah.
Dude, when Hardman got shoved out of bounds, got that forearm to his back, there were 2 referees on either side
right
of that,
there,
looking right at it, and they didn't throw a flag.
There's a referee right there when he got ran into after calling a fair catch too.
You know why I think he didn't get called on that fair catch is because he dove like a soccer player. He got hit 3 seconds later after the fact. Like he did.
He got ran into and knocked back a step or 2, legitimately, and then kind of flailed the arms and went all the way to the ground. But I don't care. The rule is you don't touch the guy when he's called a fair catch.
Right, but like that's what I'm saying. Like if you embellish it, you know what I mean? Like you could easily call the same thing for embellishing, kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, maybe if you acted like you got ran into and you didn't, but he got ran into.
It should have been a flag. I'm not arguing that it should not have been a flag.
He fucking got ran into.
Going back to like personnel, who do you think stays? Who do you think goes next year? Do you guys seriously think Honey Badger stays next year?
It just depends on if he's willing to take a pay cut to stay.
I think he's gone. And I was going to put this out on the Chiefs Kingdom Live Twitter thing, and then I was like, oh, that'd be a good way to lose about 350 followers in about 2 minutes. Like, it's going to come down to, does Honey Badger, what does he want more? Does he want to stay here and play more, or does he want to go get money? Because the Chiefs are not in a position to pay him the kind of money he's probably going to be able to get from other teams elsewhere. I just don't think they can do it. So, does he want to play here, or does he want to go get paid? And I'm not making a judgment on him either way.
If you're a player in the NFL playing for the Chiefs right now, what other team would you want to go for? Like besides the obvious one, the one that's paying more money.
I don't know if another team's offering you $15 million more over 4 years. You buy a lot of cool shit for $15 million.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. Other than like the money aspect, like there's no other team you want to go really play for.
Well, no, I mean, he's not going to go to another team for any reason other than the money. But my point is, he might want money more than he wants to stay here. I think
he's already a Super Bowl champion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that might factor in. Like, yeah, I don't want to go play for the Jets, but I've already got the Super Bowl, and they're offering me another $15 million. I mean, I think he wants to stay too. I mean, his press conference, like after the game, like was pretty gut wrenching to listen to.
He was almost crying.
Yeah. I mean, look, I like the guy. I think that his social media presence probably isn't a good solid indication of who he is as a person.
He's got thin skin.
He's a good person, and I think that if you met him and you talked to him, like, he would be cool and he would be a really nice dude. And it was hard to listen to him like tear up and be kind of choked up about, like, because they're asking him, like, did you just play your last game for the Chiefs, essentially, right? And and he's like saying that's kind of out of my hands. And it's not really like, I don't have any control over that.
I mean, it's not out of your hands. Like, you're gonna get to pick where you go play.
Yeah, you get to say what you want to do in that situation.
I mean, we've seen guys, Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones, we've seen guys stay here for less money.
That's what I was thinking, like the
Doug,
Tom Brady move.
I agree with Doug here. I think he wants to stay, but
does Patrick Mahomes take less money to help with the salary cap this year?
Like, what's his wanting to stay versus what's his wanting to get paid? Like, which one is more important?
Yeah, what they can do with Patrick's salary is they can convert Patrick's salary. I think they can convert all of it to a roster bonus. And so what that does is it basically spreads out over the next. I think you can do that for 5 years. So like it's like they take like the 40 million and then they spread it out, and so it's like you chop that up. But the problem is that all accumulates over time, right? So like you do that, it's like, yeah, it helps us this year, but then in like 3 years we've got like, whatever he's getting paid that year and the other 20 million, and he's basically like a $60 million quarterback at that point. So
it's not going to be it's not going to be a matter of whether or not Tyrann Mathieu is worth a big contract next year. Is it going to be worth the big contract in year 4 of the big contract?
Right.
Like that's
because he's probably got 3 years left where he's going to be playing at the level that he's at, and he's probably going to want a 4-year deal. Now you can always,
I guarantee you, there's a team out there that's dumb financially, and will look at him and say that's a Super Bowl winning safety, and he's a popular guy.
Yeah,
Jaguars or somebody,
and he can help lead our defense. There's gonna be someone out there that's gonna be willing to overpay him and pay him more than the Chiefs are gonna be able to or be willing to. It's gonna
come
down.
Something different about this team to me, though. Like these guys,
they want the money, or they want to stay here. I don't.
There's a brotherhood to this team, dude. I feel like they all want to stay together as long as possible,
as long
as financially possible. You know what I mean? And I don't see anybody wanting to leave.
Right. No, yeah, I don't think anybody wants to leave. It's just going to be, do they want money more than they want to stay here? What do they want?
I mean, I don't want to leave my job now. I like the people I work with, but if somebody's going to pay me double to go somewhere else, like, I'd probably do it. Triple, double, triple your money.
Yeah. Especially if double or triple means like an extra 10 or 15 million.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't know, but I assume having 30, like what's 40 million going to get you that 30 million can't, but
that's like, but that's like an extra 50% of like your current net worth. You know what I mean? Like that's like that's a lot of money. And I think that when you start talking about that, you're not thinking about yourself. I think you're thinking, okay, so can I take care of my grandchildren? Right? Like that Patrick talked about generational wealth, and like when he was signing his deal, like that my future generations are taken care of. And I think that's, where some of these guys start to think it's not just, to your point, Bo, like, $30 million, like that's a lot. There's nothing that you really can't do that you would want to do unless you wanted to buy, so there's some yachts that cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Right. But
there's ways to spend it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that.
Even if you're not concerned about your generations, an extra, if someone offers, me a 60% raise to go somewhere else, those extra tens of thousands or whatever it is would be nice. But, that's not an extra 15 million to go somewhere else. That's a lot of damn money. Like, I get a $6 million house instead of a $3 million house. Like, I don't.
Again, so like playing devil's advocate. What if it's like Cleveland though? Like, what if it's like Cleveland? Cleveland, like, yeah, hey, we got an extra 7-10 million for you. I don't know what Cleveland's cap space is like, if they even could. But like, dude, you're gonna like give up playing in Kansas City to go to an even shittier place, like just be miserable the entire time. That's what I'm saying. I don't feel like people want to leave this situation. I bet you next year we see some like really interesting salary moves by a lot of people you wouldn't expect to.
R.I.P. John V. Doesn't he live in like the Cleveland area?
I'm not sure. He lives in Ohio. I think he lives maybe closer to Columbus though. But I don't know, man. Like I get what you're saying. You already got 30. What's 40? But shit, that's fucking $10 million. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're giving up $10 million at the end of it.
That's what it is. I mean, that's $10 million, bro. That's
must be a great problem to have.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I don't. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not making a judgment on the guy if he leaves.
I'm not either. I've just seen it happen with other teams. Like we saw Brady and Gronk do the same thing when they were in New England, right? And then some people in Seattle did the same thing, just restructure their deals, keep certain players on the team. Like I can see that happening this year to keep Kelce and Hill and Chris Jones. I mean, those are huge contracts that we have to pay, and I can see them all taking a pay cut to stay on this team, dude. Like we're one game away again from going to the big game. You know what I mean? Like. That's nothing to scoff at. Like, that's a great team. We had a hell of a year. I know it sucks that we lost, and we're kind of sitting here, like, bitching about they should have won that game. But at the end of the day, dude, 4 straight AFC championship games, like, what? That's what we're bringing to the table right now as a team.
Yeah. And it's funny, like, I was listening to a podcast that I like, and there's a couple of guys that were on there, and they were talking about one guy was talking about how disappointing it is that the Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl this year. And the red carpet was laid out because all of the juggernauts got wiped out ahead of you. You took care of the Bills. And over in the NFC, like Tom Brady and that Buccaneers defense and Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams got cleared out. Like it was almost like they were rolling the red carpet out. The Chiefs were heavy favorites going into this weekend. They were the clear favorite. Like Vegas was giving them like a 43% chance, and the next closest team had a 20-something% chance to win it, and how disappointing it is. And the other guy was like, yeah, but you won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, and winning Super Bowls is really hard. And like,
winning playoff games
kind of got to the thing is like, are you being greedy? But to me, I look at it as the team's stated goal is to win multiple championships and be the next dynasty. And yeah, I mean, you can be one of those teams that wins one Super Bowl and, like the Ravens with Joe Flacco. But I mean, the Chiefs are a better organization and they have a better quarterback. And they got 3 Hall of Fame players on offense playing together right now. Like, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
To get to 4 straight AFC Championship games at home and only go to 2 Super Bowls and win 1 is disappointing. I mean, you kind of needed to go to 3 Super Bowls and win 2 of them to really say you took advantage. But I don't know, is that being too greedy or no?
As a Chiefs fan, yeah, man. I would say it's a little greedy. But it's also like goes right along with the saying, like, we got to strike when the iron's hot. And I can't imagine the iron being any hotter than having the team that we have. You know what I mean? But I mean, we just sat here and picked apart why our team can't do it. It's because our defense, you know what I mean? Luckily for us, we still have a really young team. Even our superstars are fairly young. Travis Kelce, maybe not on that side, but everybody else.
Any signs of slowing down this year.
Exactly. So I mean, like at least another season, at least 2 more seasons of like this explosive, dynamic, amazing offense, right? So if we can just get the head coach and the front office to agree that we need to rally around the defense a little bit here, like I don't see us like. I still have that bar, man. Like I see us going to the AFC Championship game next year, right? Like I don't see our team falling off.
I was just about to ask you, if you had to put a large sum of money on going to I'm not even saying at home. Championship game next year, would you wager yes or no?
Yeah, man, I would do it. Yes, and earlier the better. You get better odds that way. Get a bigger payout. Like,
I'm not factoring that in.
Patrick's never not gotten to that game, so I would say yes.
Yeah, that's a great point, Nick. Like, didn't even think about that in my response, but like, yeah, man. Like, I just look at our team. Like, it's not changing.
I guess there's 2 ways to look at that. I guess it's like he's not going to go every year. If he plays 20 years, he's not going to go 20 years. And every year that he goes, you're just getting 1 year closer to the year that he's not going to make it. Like, maybe it's hard, man. Like, it's hard to make the AFC Championship game. Like,
Carol says yes. But I mean, look at the other thing that we're not really taking into account is the AFC is becoming stacked with quarterbacks, you know? So
Yeah.
Oh, dude, completely.
I think
Completely.
Lamar Jackson, the shine's off of him now. I think he'll fade. I think he'll start to fade.
I saw somebody mention on Twitter.
Justin Herbert, new Mahomes, he's, and like Patrick famously said, I'll see it when I believe it with him. You know, usurping Mahomes in the division and beating him.
Yes, we do, Elaine. Yes, we do. That's my opinion.
The defense is, I don't know, like they've spent money and given the defense players, and they were ranked 27th this year. His first year they won the Super Bowl, but I don't think they were top 15 unit that year. And then last year I'd like to go back and look and see what they were ranked last year, but I want to say they've ranked out of the top 15 at least 3 of the 4 years that he's been here, 2 of the 3 years that he's been here.
Given that,
I don't know. Who's available to replace him? I don't know enough about scheme, and I mean to say like, yeah, for sure, I know we need to get rid of him. I don't know.
I could say that, yeah, man. Like he's good at polishing a turd. Like he's good at like getting the guys that he has up there, but like you got to have more say in like filling the gaps. You got to change your scheme in the middle of the game when you're getting burned over and over again. You can't have the guy call an all-out blitz and rush 7 guys on 3rd and 27 when like seasons are on the line, kind of thing. Like number 1 seeds are on the line. Like he's just had the craziest mental errors and the biggest moments this year that for me, it's just like, dude, we need somebody else in there calling the shots.
With the season on the line on 3rd and goal kind of this year, up 8, he put 1-on-1 on Chase. Like,
right.
Now,
like,
Fenton was in position and he got pushed off a little bit. And so,
but dude,
did
the
it again,
the
right?
one guy, you're going to go man
single
coverage.
covered their best player with the season on the line.
Yeah.
Again.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like this, it's like for as much as like the clever and the trick plays that they do and like the A+ plays that they come up with that nobody else is thinking about, they miss so many fundamentals that it keeps these shit teams around and in the game and like hanging around and competitive with us. Like it's all just mental errors on the coaching part, dude. Like frustrating.
I could definitely like feel my blood pressure going up as we talk about this game. So I don't know. The other thing too is like Eric Bieniemy. What, like,
you think we keeping him like around? Like we can keep him? Yeah, I think we should. I think he's great.
Everything I hear about this dude that they've got behind him, this Mike Kafka guy, is that he's ready and he's like a whiz. He might even be the Andy Reid heir apparent. Eric Bieniemy's contract is up, hasn't been extended. Doesn't look like he's going to get a head coaching job this year. So, I mean, I think the Chiefs are at a point with him where it's like you either give him a new contract, extend him out to be the offensive coordinator, or you just tell him bye-bye. It's been fun. Like, man.
That's tough, man. Like he's done a lot for us, and he's called up some great offensive plays when the times come. And what I also love about Bieniemy is he gives Patrick the freedom to like, how about Wasp? We have time for Wasp. They call up Wasp. Bam. You know what I mean? Like just stuff like that. Just like giving Patrick the freedom to be a part of that decision making is what you need in an OC. Somebody that listens to your players and stuff. The reason I think he didn't get a head coaching job somewhere is because he doesn't want to go coach in like Detroit or Jacksonville. Like, who the hell wants to go coach those teams? You know what I mean? I think he's perfectly fine. It could just be that money thing though that we were talking about with Tyrann. Like, he could be gone if some other team's offering him $10 million more than the Chiefs will next year too. Like I could see him going somewhere just for a money thing and credential thing, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see where he's gonna not get a contract if nobody hires him. I mean, I just Reed is obviously big on him. I mean, we've done co-offensive coordinators, I think, right? So maybe if that Kafka guy is great, maybe they elevate him and they split some responsibilities.
Or you make Eric Bieniemy like the co-head coach or whatever. I think they did that. Yeah. They did that with what's his face? Brad Childress, the guy that was with the Vikings. Right. He was here for a couple of years, and he was like the special assistant to the head coach. So, yeah, maybe that. It's gonna be tough to see what they do there.
I honestly didn't know Bieniemy was like under the crosshairs in any way, dude. I thought he was.
His contract is up, and he hasn't had an extension. And I think like the Chiefs. I think Andy Reid's been lobbying for him to get a head coaching job somewhere because he likes the guy, and also because I think they've got maybe a guy or two. I mean, that's the way like it works. Like you work your way up, and then you're gone, and somebody else gets a chance, and then they work through, and like they're constantly like have been churning guys through since Andy Reid has gotten here anyway, and now it's like they're kind of like at a log jam almost.
But to me, like we need to work on like defense. Like why are we even considering the OC being somewhere else or having a new title or anything like that? Let's worry about the defensive side, right? Like that's
I don't think Spags is going anywhere, guys. I hate to break it to you, but unless he decides to retire, I don't think Andy's going to fire him.
No, the question wasn't are they going to get rid of him? It was should they?
I know.
So. I mean,
I would like to see us get somebody that's more aggressive that can.
He's pretty aggressive. Like
aggressive is not the right word.
I don't know how much more aggressive you want than
better.
People rushing on 3rd and 26.
Someone better.
Someone more competent. I don't know. I'm not a scheme guy, so I don't know why they break down, but man, they collapse when the game is on the line.
Yeah.
A lot. Unless they're playing a shit team, in which case they prove this year that, man, against those bad teams, we can hold them to 10 points.
That's why I have I have a really hard time criticizing the players a lot because like there was so many instances this year where I just thought the worst play call, and granted the players just followed what the coaches said. Like that's their job. The coach's job is dial up the right play call. And like, dude, I keep referencing this 3rd and 26, but I'm sorry, that play, like it really just showed me like this guy might not know what the fuck he's doing sometimes. Like there are some mental errors this guy's making that are just so basic and so fundamental to football that like you're going to keep everybody around, like all these teams hanging around and being competitive with you when you should be stepping on their neck, beating them 42-6.
Yeah. I mean, he had Daniel Sorensen covering Stephon Diggs in the first Bills game, like downfield. I'm not saying he's the end all be all. I don't know if he's bad enough to fire. It seems like they've got good players on defense. I mean, a handful of good players anyway. I don't know. They need to fix it though. I don't know if they should get rid of him or not. To be honest with you. They need to do whatever they need. Whatever's going to get them to the point where they don't blow 3-score leads at home with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. That's what I want them to do.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, no, that's been it for 3 or 4 years. Like, either Patrick's got to get us a fucking 4-touchdown lead or he's got to make a miracle comeback.
Right. No in between.
There's some in between, but not often enough. Not consistent enough.
Do you think the streaky nature of the offense makes it harder on the defense in some ways?
Yeah, it could.
Yeah,
because it's like they go and they're
streaky. Like I don't know.
They're streaky.
I mean, they're not going to score a touchdown on 100% of the drives. Like, so if they score touchdowns on 40% of the drives, if they get 3 in a row and then miss, I mean, is that any different than them getting one every other one throughout the course of the game? I don't know.
I think that when the team doesn't score for half of a game, I think it does feel different. Maybe it doesn't to the players. It feels different as a fan. when the defense is like up, go back out there, up, go back out there, up, go back out there, and they get a pick.
But they sat on the bench the entire first half because the offense was controlling the clock and moving the ball.
Well, and they got stops in the first half too, right?
A couple, but that's all they had to get in the first half. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying they should have blown the lead.
When the offense sputters is when you need to nut up.
I think that when you go like an entire half without scoring, I think it's harder on the defense than if you spread it out some.
Well, they made it easier. Then they made it that much easier on them in the first half by scoring every time. Then, to me, that's a good defense, right? You got to nut up when the offense isn't going well. That's when you got to step up. When the offense is out there flying around and scoring every drive and keeping you on the sideline and keeping you fresh, that's when you need to be relaxing and resting up for when they start to sputter or have a few bad drives. So that's when you got to get out there and get 2 or 3 or 4 stops in a row. I don't know. Maybe that could be wrong. I just don't.
Yeah, that's a great point, Doug, man. They really showed that they just will let it ride on Patrick's shoulders no matter what. They'll give up 20, 30-yard plays at will, knowing that their quarterback can do the same thing.
Yeah, frustrating into the season. And
so I have a question here. Did the NFL lose with this weekend's games winners? Does anybody really want to see the Rams play the Bengals in the Super Bowl this year?
I mean, I think the Rams I think they do. I think that the NFL has been forcing the NFL in Los Angeles so much. I think they're happy with the Rams making the Super Bowl. The Bengals,
the NFL as a business is. Are any of the fans
Bengals,
happy?
The Bengals with Joe Burrow, he's everybody's goal. He kind of reminds me of Mahomes 2 or 3 years ago. How much love the guy gets and how everybody builds him up, and they're trying to come up with all these nicknames for him, and everybody's rooting for him, and I don't know. You could say TV market wise, it's not good for the NFL. That's Cincinnati, but you could say the same thing about the Chiefs because they're not exactly. Cincinnati's bigger than Kansas City, right? So
yeah, I mean, I guess if you were going to ask, I think that the Los Angeles thing is definitely. I mean, they want good teams in Los Angeles.
I think the NFL would have wanted Chiefs Rams.
Yeah, but you can't sit there and say that they wanted was it the 4 and the 3 and the 4 seed? What were the Rams?
I think they were the 4, weren't they?
Yeah, so I mean, they definitely would have wanted those higher seeds in there.
Yeah, I agree with Chiefs Kingdom down here for sure. Everybody wanted KC and the Rams. The rematch from the epic 55-50 or whatever that fucking
51-54, man.
51-54 game from a few years ago. I think the NFL would have loved to have the Chiefs and the Rams in the Super Bowl. I think that they're probably a little disappointed with the Bengals making it. But again, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are their love child that they don't call penalties against and just incessantly promote and say are better. And for as bad as the second half Patrick Mahomes had in that game, he outplayed Joe Burrow still. Joe Burrow he didn't have anything super heroics in that game. I mean, screen passes and runs and one touchdown pass to Chase that was really a penalty. Mahomes, that first half was so unbelievable. He was just
on fire.
I was saying, man, he really took this Joe Burrow's better than him shit personally is what I was thinking in the first half. And what happened in the second half is just I don't even want to try and figure it out because you're never going to figure it out.
Right.
Probably the dumbest thing that I've heard is, does he have too many distractions off the field? And I think that was on a Pat McAfee bit where they were talking about his sister and his brother and shit. And I was like, so what, he wasn't distracted by him in the first half, but he was in the second half? Or that was probably one of the dumber things I saw. I love his show, but that was crap.
Yeah. Thanks for the comment, Chiefs Kingdom. Appreciate that.
Welcome to the show.
Glad you haven't joined in the show here.
I also want to say that I got asked in line for the bathroom by a Bengals fan what we thought of Jackson Mahomes, and
oh yeah,
and like I was just like, I mean, I think he's like a dumb kid or whatever, but like the everybody's obsession with Jackson Mahomes is kind of weird. That's really what I was thinking was like the fact that I think the fact that you're asking me about him is weird. Like, what do you think of Joe Burrow's brother?
Right,
like, I don't know.
Right? Yeah, like what? I don't understand the.
Why are you, as a Cincy fan, paying attention to Jackson Mahomes? Like, it's not.
Let me tell you something. Every fan base right now, except for maybe who, the Bills, the Packers, and the Bengals, they'd take Jackson Mahomes TikToking on their sideline if it meant they got Patrick Mahomes on their team.
Yeah, no
I promise you that shit right now. Like, they would sign up for Brittany and Jackson if it meant Mahomes was coming to their team.
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing the Bengals coach is doing, going to the local sports bar and grills and giving them game balls when they win, is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't want to sit here and love up the Bengals, Doug. Good for them. You take their football with their shitty ass chili that they think is so fucking great. No, yeah, I don't. I think the coach is a young guy, and some of their players have been kind of jackasses and haven't really won with that much class. That Eli Apple guy sitting there talking a shit ton of smack after the game. You weren't talking before the game, and you weren't talking during the game when you were getting roasted, so they put you on Demarcus Robinson for the second half. Like, you weren't talking then. You know what I'm saying? Like, but as far as their coach seems like a decent enough guy, I don't know. I'm not rooting for the Bengals. I see all these Chiefs fans are like, go win it all. I'm Team Bengals now. I'm like, really? You're gonna root for the team that just knocked you out? Like,
no,
if you came home and found your wife
Donald
cheating with somebody and then
out.
she left you for him and they got married, you'd be rooting on that marriage? I don't think so. Like, screw the Bengals. I'm going for the Rams. Like,
yeah, it kind of pissed me off watching
CEH
sit there and tell Jamar Chase, go on and win this Super Bowl, go on and beat it. Like, oh man, just go fucking congratulate him for a good game. Get out of there. You can have whoever you want to have win the Super Bowl, but don't sit there and like.
I would not be a good I would not be the Patrick Mahomes route. I would be you got lucky, bitch, and we're gonna see you again next year. And I would have walked off the field. That's what I would have been saying. I would have been like, mail your check to the referees, and you're not nearly as good as me. You just wait till next year. Like, I don't.
Well, and
I might be a bit of a
like to see Matt Stafford win it all now anyway. Like, that dude fucking rotted in the Detroit Lions. And, like, now he's got a chance to go win a Super Bowl, right? Now he's finally on a good team. I think that's a good storyline. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's hard to even imagine that I'm going to watch the game right now because, like, I'm just so pissed off. I didn't watch the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl.
There's a less than 50% chance I watch the Super Bowl, guaranteed.
Yeah.
My interest in it went completely down, dude. Like,
maybe if Aaron Rodgers and the Packers had made it or something, but yeah, the Rams and the Bengals, just that don't move the needle for me
at all.
There's not enough draw there for me to like get over my wounds and watch the Super Bowl knowing the Chiefs should have been in it and should have been winning it. Like, I just don't. God, it was fucking laid out right there. So
took all the sail out of our wings. Yeah,
we got Kingdoms back in here. Burrow and Chase didn't do much in the game anyways. We beat ourselves with offensive. Yeah, I agree with some of that. I don't know if you caught the first part of the show or not, but like, none of us are blaming I'm team blame the defense for blowing a 3-score lead at home. But, some play calling there, some better play calling would have helped in the second half. No doubt about that, for sure.
I think it was personnel. I think that putting CEH in for however long he did was a terrible decision.
No, the human
McKinnon was fighting through people and getting like 7 yards on first down and then like for whatever reason, we took him out until it was kind of too late there at the end. So,
yeah. Race Car, good to see you again, Race Car. Nobody but Rams fans and Cincy fans will be interested in the Super Bowl. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. I can't imagine there's a lot of Matthew Stafford like fanboys and girls out there that are geeking out over him going to the Super Bowl. It's not like one of these iconic franchises.
You can't have diehard fans for the Rams in LA right now, right? Like that just can't be a thing.
I don't know.
It's still so new.
They were in LA for a long time before they went to St. Louis, so maybe you have some leftovers from there.
But to me, like they're just in St. Louis for so long that all their fans have to be in St. Louis still. To me,
right? Who are you guys rooting for? I mean, I don't know if you're gonna watch the game or not, but are you one of these like, oh, look at me, I'm going to be the bigger person and root for the Bengals shit? Or are you like, fuck the Bengals, I'm going for the Rams?
No, so on Reddit, you know, the Chiefs sub, like always, does like a GIF war. And the Bengals fans were really cool on there. Like the first time we met and the second time we met. And now that the Bengals have won, like all I can say is that I hope the Rams fucking crush them. And that, I mean, I've said some things to some people that I felt kind of bad about afterwards in the heat of the moment about how I wanted the game to go. But I'm going Rams. I mean, I want Matt Stafford to win. Now I'd like to see, like, I think McVay's a good young coach. It would annoy the Shant Club. So we got that on top of it.
Forgot about the Shant Club. We should talk about that 49ers game.
Yeah, so I mean that I don't know, man. I just keep feeling like the better team didn't win and the Bengals just I watch them and I'm like, I just don't think they're that good of a team.
No.
I just don't feel like they're that good of a team. And it just
they're not.
So it's an aggravating, feeling for me.
Speaking of the Shant Club, the Bengals remind me of the 49ers. Like they just somehow managed to win, even though they're not that great, right? Like I'm going for the Rams.
Not safe for work.
I think it would be bittersweet to watch
Von Miller go to Rams.
I mean, the Bengals got to play the Raiders, then the Titans wet their pants and pissed that game away, and then the Chiefs defense wet their pants and pissed that game away, and it's like Bengals are like, oh, we're in the Super Bowl now. Like what? Awesome. And to me, and maybe Joe Burrow will turn out to be one of a Josh Allen or one of these prime competitors is a top quarterback in the league of the AFC. But to me, this Bengals team in the Super Bowl reminds me of who was it a couple of years ago that went to the Super Bowl and got their ass beat?
The Rams?
And haven't made it back. Or the Jaguars made it to the AFC Championship game and almost beat the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl. And then the next year were
yeah, but I think they had
8 games or some shit.
Yeah, they had Blake Bortles though. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't. Maybe the Bengals are better than we think they are. I just.
It depepends.
I'm going for the Rams though,
and I don't think he's going to be going too far.
I'm gonna go for the Rams though, man. I think it'd be bittersweet to watch Von Miller do something, even though all those years in Denver, he was the guy, didn't do shit. I'd like to see him go in there.
He won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning, but
he didn't do it. Peyton Manning did it. We all know that.
No, that was a defense that did that that year. But
yeah, you're right. You're right.
I hate Peyton.
I was like, God damn it! Why do you have to be right?
I don't know if it was Von. I don't remember if Von Miller had a great game. It was that defense carried Peyton Manning. That was the year that we should have won the division too, but we lost that first game. Jamal Charles fumbled the ball, gave him that game. Then we kicked their ass and got Manning benched in the rematch in the second game of the year against the Broncos that year. And they still somehow won the division by one game and went on to the Super Bowl. And,
yeah. I'd still like to see the Rams defense just beat the shit out of Burrow.
Dude, Aaron Donald and Von Miller are going to destroy that Bengals line.
I hope so, man.
So disappointing the Chiefs couldn't get more pressure against guys. How did they not do that?
Yeah, my prediction was so wrong. That was my prediction. I thought our D line was just going to have a field day with that O line.
Right? I thought Chris Jones and Melvin Ingram and Frank Clark and Reed and them guys were going to just harass. They got 4 sacks against the Bengals in the first game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the Bengals, maybe they helped out. Maybe they left extra guys in. I don't know what they did, but just
Bengals
missed
O line must have had a hell of a practice
They
this
did
past
this.
week.
They did that. That's what they did.
That's
Oh yeah.
Just
it was
fold
just
the
hold on
jersey.
every play and make them throw a penalty against us.
How
Maybe
to
that
stop a
was-
sack? Grab right here and don't let go, no matter
Make
where
them,
the
make
guy
them throw a
goes.
penalty on every play, right? Like, if that's the case, then Chiefs should have played into that and did the same thing. And
100% agree. So,
I'm not saying I want to see someone get hurt, but I'm not going to say I didn't want to see somebody get hurt. Like after that hit on McCole Hardman out of bounds and running into him after the fair catch, there's a couple times where there was a Bengals like Burrow ran out of bounds and there was a defender that let up, and I was thinking, if that was me, I would not have let up. Like I would have
eye for an eye in that case.
And been like, you can thank your teammate for hitting my guy late on the sidelines for that one, and the referees for not calling it. Sometimes you got to officiate the games yourself and stick up for your buddies. I remember one of the few games I got kicked out of playing soccer growing up was a game in which I was playing with your brother, Bo, and a guy made a cheap hit on him and kind of knocked him out of the game, and the referee didn't do nothing about it. So I made sure to take note of his number, and the first opportunity I had to take him out late out of bounds. So it's like I made sure they got payback. Sometimes you got to stick up for your homies. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
you got to officiate the game yourself. If they're not going to do it and they're going to let your guys get run into and get hit dirty and get hit late out of bounds, like turnabout's fair play. I mean, what you're going to give them 15-yard penalty? I mean, you're giving up 15 yards on every other play anyway. So the way the defense was going, but. Yeah, just man, like I just can't believe the season's over. Like it just didn't.
I know football.
Like after the turnaround and the 3-4, and then like the way the team turned around and won 10 of their last 11, and then won that Bills game, and then got like the deck cleared and like the biggest opposition in the NFC wiped out.
We won the coin toss again.
Right. Yeah, and you won the coin toss again in overtime. Like just it just doesn't even seem real almost, I guess. Maybe that's not the right term to use. It just seems like
surreal.
Yeah, maybe so real that the Chiefs aren't going to win the Super Bowl. Like
I was talking with Nick though before the podcast, dude. Like as much as it sucks, as bitter of a pill as it is to swallow, what a hell of a season, right? Like you had just alluded to it. They just won like 9 out of their last 10 games. That Bills game, like, oh my God, like what people are gonna be talking about that forever. It's hard to like look back right now, like how great of a season that was. And that's why like I kind of got to remind myself I'm a Chiefs fan. Remember the Chiefs like all these years back? Like we were just waiting for playoff wins. We're getting them now. Like I know it's not the Super Bowl, but like AFC Championship game, I take that every year, even if we don't win it every single year. It was awesome. Hell of a season. We started this podcast, made it 10 times more fun, like way more active, participating, you know what I mean? Like involving myself with the Shant Club, or not interjecting myself in the Shant Club comments, not really involving myself. But
we met Joe Valerio.
On the show, man. Like hell of a season.
Met a guy that played with the Chiefs. Stop bringing up good shit, Bo. I don't want to be in a good fucking mood right now. Okay, like
great season, man. It was fun.
You're not Mr. Fucking Sunshine today, are you, Scotty?
You're bringing me up, Bo. I don't want to be brought up right now. I want to be pissed and upset still. Okay.
I want to still just keep ranting on these fucking Bengals.
Right. Talk about how shitty the defense is and how
I want to talk about the fucking defense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're really bringing me up, man. And that's not what I want right now. We'll have to see if we can get Joe on here maybe in the next week before season gets out of way. I don't know. Like I think we should, we've talked about, and all 4 people that are watching right now, but I think we're going to do some like off-season episodes. I don't know that we'll do it every week because what's there to talk about every week? Like, especially, there's just until free agency starts or the draft or whatever, there's a long stretch here where there ain't going to be shit to talk about for the Chiefs, unfortunately.
Yeah, starting off slow, coming back made for a real exciting season. Man, that was fun. I like looking back at like our 3rd, 4th podcast when we're like the Chiefs were 2 and 3, and we're just like, "What's going on, guys? I don't know if this is going to be the same."
Is it our fault?
Well, I mean, wins do you think we're going to get? We're going to break 10 wins? Like, you think that's possible? Is that even? Can we even do that?
Right.
I remember being 3 and 4 and looking at like games against the Cowboys and the Packers and somebody else, and was thinking, this fucking team could be 3 and 6 or 3 and 7 or something, And then they just turned around and won all those games, and
blew it in the playoffs. Then blew it in the playoffs.
Yeah. Still won the division. That comeback against the Chargers where Travis Kelce just fucking ripped their heart out.
Oh man, dude, that game was so good. We jumped on a podcast right after. We're all fuck the Chargers.
That was a good
we
time.
Owned the Broncos this year. I want to repeat that. Like we branded them KC right on their hindquarters, dude. Just they are our team. We own that fucking team.
Do you guys remember when we blew it in the AFC Championship against the Bengals?
Yeah, no, I remember that. Unfortunately.
Sorry, Bo. I just had to bring it back down for Scott.
You're good.
Yeah,
Bring me back down to a 10.
Yeah, Bo keeps trying to like lift my spirits here.
We haven't lost all of our live viewers yet, so I'm just gotta keep.
We're down to 3, so but so yeah, we'll do some episodes in the off season. Maybe I think we do an episode next week. Do like a season wrap where we can just go through the season like in more in depth and just maybe do like a chin up thing and have some highlights, some badass plays. Talk about some of the better games. Try to get Chiefs Kingdom out of the doldrums, here, and kind of maybe try and lift some people's spirits or something. I don't know. Do like a season recap episode.
Plenty of other sports to talk about.
What's that?
I said there's plenty of other sports too to talk about.
Yeah. What if Rodgers comes AFC West? I don't see that happening. Maybe he will. I don't know. I mean,
there's a lot of chatter of it.
He can fight it out. He can fight it out with Justin Herbert for 2nd and 3rd place, I guess. I don't know. New Mahomes and him can battle for 2nd place and maybe a wild card as long as they can beat the Raiders the last week of the season.
Could you imagine say wherever he's going, Devontae's going with him?
What's that? I'm sorry?
Didn't Rodgers say wherever he goes, Devontae's going to go with him? Devontae Adams?
I don't know what's going on there. That's a whole weird thing that I don't know what they said. But
so could you imagine if like Derek Carr was like the worst quarterback in the division and everybody else is that was the baseline, like bottom of the barrel? Because I mean, Derek Carr is like a terrible quarterback.
Just think about how much money it's going to cost to have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams on your team.
Take him to Denver.
It's going to cost a lot of damn money.
Financially ruin them.
They can defer payments, Scott.
I don't know why Denver would want Aaron Rodgers anywhere. I mean, they got Drew Lock, so what the fuck with you?
Same.
Hey, right? He's from Lee Summit, all right? Leave him alone. Yeah, the chatter is definitely but that was the chatter last year too, though, right? Everybody's like, oh no, it's gonna happen.
Is he gonna force a trade and all this other shit? And he ended up I will be surprised if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play for the Packers next year. I will be. I just don't. Just in the same sense, I'll be surprised if Russell Wilson doesn't play for the Seahawks next year.
Right.
When you have a quarterback now, Russell Wilson kind of fell off this year, and he was not as good. He's been in the league several years now, though, too. I mean, he's not like an old veteran, but I just when you get a top 5 quarterback, you don't let him go. Like, I don't
Right. Do everything in your power to keep that guy.
Right. Unless it's all happy ending to Sean Watson, who to me is still one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, dude, they had a top 5 quarterback and they sat him the entire year and didn't play him. Like,
Because they were afraid of cancel culture. Like, let's get real. Like, that's why they didn't play.
I thought it was that he didn't want to play.
I don't know, man.
Because there was all that stuff happening before all the other stuff happened, right? I mean, it was like full Antonio Brown situation. Where
That's right. There was that shit. J.J. Watt was like saying, "Sorry, we wasted your time."
But they kept him on the roster and just made him inactive for the game, so they had to keep paying him. Like, if he was refusing to play, they could have got out of paying him the money, and like that's not the route they went.
Yeah.
So I don't. That was
wild.
One of those, I mean, could you imagine like the Chiefs just sitting Patrick Mahomes all season? Like, what the fuck? So weird. Like, and I get that there's some serious accusations by a lot of women, but these are all civil things. Like, he hasn't been charged with a crime.
An accusation is just that, somebody accusing you of something. Doesn't mean you did it. I don't know if he did it. I'm not trying to say he did or didn't do it.
Criminally, it's like they're trying to like sue you and get money out of you, and that doesn't mean that it's if he did what he did that it makes it okay or anything. It's just the motivation is so much different to me. That's I don't.
Yeah, it's odd.
I don't know, but yeah, but if he wants out and he was refusing to play, like they could have gone a different route and not had to pay him. You know, like I just don't.
Yeah, I've seen teams go other ways of like not playing a player.
And maybe they thought they were going to trade him. And
it sounded like it. It sounded like they were looking. I just don't think anybody wanted.
Like they were going to get Tua for a while, right?
Right. The Dolphins seemed like they were interested there for a while, but that never happened. And
your fantasy team suffered as such, huh?
Oh, dude.
I remember you showed me that lineup, dude. I was just like, oh, I mean, that's really good if he plays.
Right. Yeah, no, I didn't do so good in fantasy leagues this year. I got battered by injury. I got decimated by injuries and guys not playing, and DK Metcalf turning into a fucking scrub somehow this year. I don't.
Dude, that guy this year, just a little season recap since we're doing it. How great was it that he gets ejected from a game and then tries to come back on and play like 2 snaps later? And they're like, nah, you got to go, man. You got ejected.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Was he trying to sneak back in or what?
Yeah, he was trying to play another snap. He got ejected.
Would notice he was out there.
I can't remember why. I can't remember the exact play why he got ejected from the game, but they kicked him out. Said you're gone. 2 plays later, he's in the huddle, and the ref has like, "Hey, no, wait!" And they had to like stop and tell him again, like, "No, you have to go to the locker room."
No, I'm BK decaf. Like,
it's like the Simpsons meme with Barney in the bar. It's just like...
Yeah, no, that's funny shit. But yeah, so the fantasy team took on some heavy injuries early, and my stud quarterback didn't play all year, and God, I thought DK Metcalf was gonna be such a beast this year. Fuck.
I did too, man. That dude's. I mean, he can be when he wants to be, but he just wasn't consistent.
I don't know. Russell Wilson just didn't look that good either this year. So I don't know, man. Like, there's some talk about teams wanting to trade him. Like, maybe the Seahawks want to trade DK Metcalf and keep Russell Wilson. And I'm like, we can bring him here. I'll take him.
In a heartbeat.
Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Yes, please. Like, I'll take that shit.
That guy would do everything we thought Josh Gordon would do, and then some. Like, and actually catch the damn ball.
Right. Yeah, for sure. But all right, well, I think we're gonna jump out of here unless there's something else you guys want to talk about.
No,
just thanks for everybody that tuned in and listened this year. It was a lot of fun. Like we said, we're gonna keep doing shows and stuff, but
yeah, we'll do a season recap show next week.
The pain will fade, and Bo's right. We'll look back and we'll look fondly on this season and what the Chiefs did achieve. and some of the cool things that happened. And until next time, right? So
yeah, thank you everybody. Really appreciate it. Made this season so much fun having this podcast. Thank you guys. That was a hell of a year. Really enjoyed every single game, even the ones we lost. It was fun to get on the next or the day after and talk with you guys about it. I had a great time. Great season.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, everybody that subscribed and liked our videos and watched, and everybody that followed us on Twitter, and we had good dialogue. I know I do a lot of the Twitter stuff. I know you do Instagram, and you interact with people. Met some cool people. Have some really cool, it ramped up the excitement level for the season and the enjoyment I got out of it, and maybe also the intensity of the blood pressure and the heart attack near the close games or whatever. But yeah, just everybody that watched, everybody that commented, everybody that followed us on our social, everybody that subscribed, everybody that liked our videos, that just watched our videos, told their friends about it, sent us tweets, sent us messages, things like that, telling us they liked the show. Yeah, it was just pretty cool. I never expected, like, there's this one guy on Twitter said that he drives a train, like one of the bullet trains over in Europe. And like he listens to our show like when he's like working and when he's like driving this train. I'm like, is there someone in Europe
so
like
cool.
listening to us talk about fucking the Chiefs? Like what?
I feel like I'm
if
just
you're
shooting the shit with
listening
you
to
guys.
this
And I
in the
forget
bullet train,
sometimes
just
that
make
other
sure you're
people
paying
are listening.
attention.
What's that?
Make sure-
I couldn't hear either what you said.
I was just saying, if you're listening to this and you're driving a bullet train in Europe, just make sure you're paying attention to like your job and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of those things drive themselves nowadays, but
I forget that other people even watch, dude. I feel like I'm just shooting the shit with you two about Chiefs Kingdom, you know what I mean? And then somebody will make a comment like, "Oh yeah, somebody's actually listening in on this conversation."
yeah. So yeah,
cool.
so I know we're doing sounds like we're doing our farewells. We'll do an episode next week. We'll do a season recap. We'll have some videos. We'll put some, we'll have to get some stuff and we'll kind of just talk about the season that was and look at the high points of the season. Maybe help something to get people past the misery of the disappointing loss this last weekend and falling short of, I don't think it's being greedy. Like that was the team's stated goal, was to go to the Super Bowl and win it after coming up short in that game last year. So I don't feel bad or greedy or like a bad fan for being disappointed in it, because that's what the team
not
said
at all.
the goal was. But yeah, thanks again to everybody. If you haven't liked or subscribed yet, we would really appreciate that. Help us out. We'll do an episode next week, and then we'll just jump in and do some episodes as news and things come up. And when we get closer, once free agency opens up and we get closer to the draft and the combine and things like that, we'll be doing shows here in the off season after the Chiefs are done. Probably just not with the same regularity, obviously, as doing one every week. But follow us on all our socials. Turn on those notifications so that you know when a show gets scheduled or when we're going live. And then I'll also be putting it out, like I said, on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook there when an episode's going to be coming up. I know we usually close this show by saying, let's go Chiefs, but I don't know. It's disappointing.
Sitting by saying like fuck the Bengals or something.
I guess we could do that.
Let's go Rams!
Right, let's go Rams. Yeah, I guess until next time.
Until we meet again.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. We're Chiefs Kingdom Live. Scott, Nick, Bo, we'll holler at you all here next Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Peace.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.